الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.
Islam in the United States. Islam is the third largest religion in the United States, after Christianity and Judaism. A 2017 study estimated that 3.45 million Muslims were living in the United States, about 1.1% of the total U.S. population. Pew Research Center has subdivided the Muslim community and their percentages into three subsets, namely Sunnism, 65%, Shiism, 11%, and non-denominational Muslims, 24%. American Muslims come from various backgrounds and, according to a 2009 Gallup poll, are one of the most racially diverse religious groups in the United States. According to a 2017 study done by the Institute for Social Policy, American Muslims are the only faith community surveyed with no majority race, with 25% Black, 24% white, 18% East Asian, 18% Arab, 7% mixed race, and 5% Hispanic. In addition, 50% of Muslims are native-born while the other 50% are foreign-born, and 86% are citizens. Many native-born American Muslims are African Americans who make up about a quarter of the total Muslim population. Many of them have converted to Islam during the last 70 years. Conversion to Islam in large cities has also contributed to its growth over the years as well as its influence on black culture and hip-hop music. While an estimated 10 to 20% of the slaves brought to colonial America from Africa arrived as Muslims, Islam was severely suppressed on plantations. Prior to the late 19th century, most documented non-enslaved Muslims in North America were merchants, travelers, and sailors. From the 1880s to 1914s, several thousand Muslims immigrated to the United States from the former territories of the Ottoman Empire and British India. The Muslim population of the U.S. increased dramatically in the 20th century, with much of the growth driven by a comparatively high birth rate and immigrant communities of Middle Eastern, African, South Asian, and Southeast Asian descent. About 72% of American Muslims are immigrants or second generation. In 2005, more people from Muslim-majority countries became legal permanent United States residents, nearly 96,000, than there had been in any other year in the previous 2 decades. In 2009, more than 115,000 Muslims became legal residents of the United States. Early history of Muslims in the New World is subject of debate. Historians argue that Muslims first arrived in the Americas in the early 16th century in present-day New Mexico and Arizona. All analysts agree that the first migration consisted of African slaves. Most slaves who tried to maintain Islamic religious practices after their arrival were forcibly converted to Christianity. In the mid-17th century, Turkish Muslims are documented to have immigrated with other European immigrants. Although joined with Protestants and Jews seeking religious freedom, it is unlikely the Muslims were free to practice at the time. Immigration drastically increased from 1878 to 1924 when Muslims from Syria settled in modern-day Ohio, Michigan, Iowa, and Dakotas. During that era, the Ford Company employed Muslims as well as African Americans, since they were the most inclined to work in its factories under demanding conditions. By the 1930s and 1940s, Muslims in the U.S. built mosques for their communal religious observance. At present, the number of Muslims in the U.S. is variously estimated at 3-4 million, and Islam is soon predicted to become the second largest religion in the U.S. One of the earliest accounts of Islam's possible presence in North America dates to 1528, when a Moroccan slave, called Mustafa Azimri, was shipwrecked near present-day Galveston, Texas. He and 3 Spanish survivors subsequently traveled through much of the American Southwest and the Mexican interior before reaching Mexico City. Historian Peter Manso wrote, Muslims' presence in the United States is affirmed in documents dated more than a century before religious liberty became the law of the land, as in a Virginia statute of 1682 which referred to Negroes, Moors, mulattoes, and others, born of and in heathenish, idolatrous, pagan, and Mohammedan parentage and country who heretofore and hereafter may be purchased, procured, or otherwise obtained, as slaves. Mohammedan is a very old term used for Muslims. Records from the American Revolutionary War indicate that at least a few likely Muslims fought on the American side. Among the recorded names of American soldiers are Yusuf Ben Ali, a member of the Turks of South Carolina community, Bampat Muhammad, and possibly Peter Salam. The first country to recognize the United States as an independent nation was the Sultanate of Morocco, under its ruler Muhammad ben Abdallah, in the year 1777. He maintained several correspondences with President George Washington. On December 9, 1805, President Thomas Jefferson hosted an iftar dinner at the White House for his guest Sidi Solomon Melaimli, an envoy from Tunis. Bilali Ben Ali Muhammad was a Fula Muslim from Timbo, Fouta Jalan, in present-day Guinea-Conakry, who arrived at Saplo Island during 1803. While enslaved, he became the religious leader and imam for a slave community numbering approximately 80 Muslim men residing on his plantation. During the War of 1812, Muhammad and the 80 Muslim men under his leadership protected their master's Saplo Island property from a British attack. He is known to have fasted during the month of Ramadan, worn a fez and kaftan, and observed the Muslim feasts, in addition to consistently performing the 5 obligatory prayers. In 1829, Bilali authored a 13-page Arabic Risala on Islamic beliefs and the rules for ablution, morning prayer, and the calls to prayer. Known as the Bilali document, it is currently housed at the University of Georgia in Athens. Between 1785 and 1815, over 100 American sailors were held for ransom in Algiers. Several wrote captivity narratives of their experiences that gave most Americans their first view of the Arab world and Muslim ways, and newspapers often commented on them. The views were generally negative. Royal Tyler wrote The Alger in Captive, 1797, an early American novel depicting the life of an American doctor employed in the slave trade who himself is captured and enslaved by Barbary pirates. Finally, Presidents Jefferson and Madison sent the American Navy to confront the pirates, and ended the threat in 1815 during the First Barbary War. During negotiation of the Treaty of Peace which ended hostilities, American envoys made clear that the United States had no animosity towards any Muslim country. On the morning of April 4, 1865, near the end of the American Civil War, Union troops commanded by Colonel Thomas M. Johnston set ablaze the University of Alabama. A copy of the Quran known as the Quran, commonly called the Al-Quran, was saved by one of the university's staff. Estimates ranging from a dozen to 292 Muslims served in the Union military during the American Civil War, including Private Muhammad Khan, who was born in Persia, raised in Afghanistan, and emigrated to the United States. The highest-ranking Muslim officer in the Union Army was Captain Moses Osman. Nicholas said, formerly enslaved to an Arab master, came to the United States in 1860 and found a teaching job in Detroit. In 1863, Said enlisted in the 55th Massachusetts Colored Regiment in the United States Army and rose to the rank of sergeant. He was later granted a transfer to a military hospital, where he gained some knowledge of medicine. His Army records state that he died in Brownsville, Tennessee, in 1882. Another Muslim soldier from the Civil War was Max Husson, an African who worked for the military as a porter. Gertrudis Serna and Haji Ali. A Greek, Syrian convert to Islam, Philip Tedro, a name he reverted to later in life, born in Smyrna, who renamed himself Haj Ali, Ali who made the pilgrimage to Mecca, commonly spelled as Hajj Ali, was hired by the United States Cavalry in 1856 to tend camels in Arizona and California. He would later become a prospector in Arizona. Haj Ali died in 1903. During the American Civil War, the scorched earth policy of the North destroyed churches, farms, schools, libraries, colleges, and a great deal of other property. The libraries at the University of Alabama managed to save one book from the debris of their library buildings. On the morning of April 4, 1865, when federal troops reached the campus with an order to destroy the university, André Delofer, a modern language professor and custodian of the library, appealed to the commanding officer to spare one of the finest libraries in the South. The officer, being sympathetic, sent a courier to General Croxton at his headquarters in Tuscaloosa asking permission to save the rotunda, but the general refused to allow this. The officer reportedly said, "I will save one volume as a memento of this occasion." The volume selected was a rare copy of the Quran. Alexander Russell Webb is considered by historians to be the earliest prominent Anglo-American convert to Islam in 1888. In 1893, he was the sole representative of Islam at the First Parliament of the World's Religions. The Russian-born Muslim scholar and writer Ahmed Abdullah, 1881–1945, was another prominent early American Muslim. In the 1891 Supreme Court case in Re Ross, the court referred to the intense hostility of the people of Muslim faith to all other sects, and particularly to Christians. Scores of Muslim immigrants were turned away at U.S. ports in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Christian immigrants suspected of secretly being Muslims were also excluded. Many enslaved peoples brought to America from Africa were Muslims from the predominantly Muslim West African region between 1701 and 1800. Some 500,000 Africans arrived in what became the United States. Historians estimate that between 15 and 30% of all enslaved African men and less than 15% of the enslaved African women were Muslims. According to 21st-century researchers Donna Meigs-Jacks and R. Kevin Jacks, has enslaved Muslims stood out from their compatriots because of their resistance, determination and education. It is estimated that over 50% of the slaves imported to North America came from areas where Islam was followed by at least a minority population. Thus, no less than 200,000 came from regions influenced by Islam. Substantial numbers originated from Senegambia, a region with an established community of Muslim inhabitants extending to the 11th century. Through a series of conflicts, primarily with the Fulani Jihad states, about half of the Senegambian Mandinka were converted to Islam, while as many as a third were sold into slavery to the Americas through capture in conflict. Michael A. Gomez speculated that Muslim slaves may have accounted for thousands, if not tens of thousands, but does not offer a precise estimate. He also suggests many non-Muslim slaves were acquainted with some tenets of Islam, due to Muslim trading and proselytizing activities. Historical records indicate many enslaved Muslims conversed in the Arabic language. Some even composed literature, such as autobiographies, and commentaries on the Quran. Some newly arrived Muslim slaves assembled for communal salat, prayers. Some were provided a private praying area by their owner. The two best documented Muslim slaves were Ayyub Suleiman Diallo and Omar ibn Said. Suleiman was brought to America in 1731 and returned to Africa in 1734. Like many Muslim slaves, he often encountered impediments when attempting to perform religious rituals and was eventually allotted a private location for prayer by his master. Omar ibn Said is among the best documented examples of a practicing Muslim slave. He lived on a 19th-century North Carolina plantation and wrote many Arabic texts while enslaved. Born in the Kingdom of Fouta Toro, modern Senegal, he arrived in America in 1807, 1 month before the U.S. abolished importation of slaves. Some of his works include the Lord's Prayer, the Bismillah, This Is How You Pray, Quranic Phases, the 23rd Psalm, and an autobiography. In 1857, he produced his last known writing on Surah 110 of the Quran. In 1819, Omar received an Arabic translation of the Christian Bible from his master, James Owen. Omar converted to Christianity in 1820, an episode widely used throughout the South to prove the benevolence of slavery. However, most scholars believe he continued to be a practicing Muslim, based on dedications to Muhammad written in his Bible. Views of Islam in America affected debates regarding freedom of religion during the drafting of the state constitution of Pennsylvania in 1776. Constitutionalists promoted religious toleration while anti-constitutionalists called for reliance on Protestant values in the formation of the state's Republican government. The former group won out and inserted a clause for religious liberty in the new state constitution. American views of Islam were influenced by favorable Enlightenment writings from Europe, as well as Europeans who had long warned that Islam was a threat to Christianity and republicanism. In 1776, John Adams published Thoughts on Government, in which he mentions the Islamic prophet Muhammad as a sober inquirer after truth alongside Confucius, Zoroaster, Socrates, and other thinkers. In 1785, George Washington stated a willingness to hire Mohammedans, as well as people of any nation or religion, to work on his private estate at Mount Vernon if they were good workmen. In 1790, the South Carolina legislative body granted special legal status to a community of Moroccans. In 1797, President John Adams signed the Treaty of Tripoli, declaring the United States had no character of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of Mussulman. In his autobiography, published in 1791, Benjamin Franklin stated that he did not disapprove of a meeting place in Pennsylvania that was designed to accommodate preachers of all religions. Franklin wrote that even if the Mufti of Constantinople were to send a missionary to preach Mohammedanism to us, he would find a pulpit at his service. Franklin also wrote an anti-slavery parody that claimed to be translation of the response of a government official at Algiers to a 17th-century petition to banish slavery there. The parody develops the theme that Europeans are specially suited for enslavement on cultural and religious grounds, and that there would be practical problems with abolishing slavery in North Africa. This satirizes similar arguments that were then made about the enslavement of blacks in North America. Thomas Jefferson defended religious freedom in America, including those of Muslims. Jefferson explicitly mentioned Muslims when writing about the movement for religious freedom in Virginia. In his autobiography, Jefferson wrote, "When the Virginia Bill for establishing religious freedom was finally passed, a singular proposition proved that its protection of opinion was meant to be universal. Where the preamble declares that coercion is a departure from the plan of the holy author of our religion, an amendment was proposed, by inserting the word Jesus Christ, so that it should read a departure from the plan of Jesus Christ, the holy author of our religion. The insertion was rejected by a great majority, in proof that they meant to comprehend within the mantle of its protection the Jew and the Gentile, the Christian and Mohammedan, the Hindu and infidel of every denomination." While president, Jefferson also participated in an iftar with the ambassador of Tunisia in 1809. However, not all politicians were pleased with the religious neutrality of the Constitution, which prohibited any religious test. Anti-Federalists in the 1788 North Carolina ratifying convention opposed the new constitution. One reason was the fear that someday Catholics or Muslims might be elected president. William Lancaster said, "Let us remember that we form a government for millions not yet in existence. In the course of 400 or 500 years, I do not know how it will work. This is most certain, that Papists may occupy that chair, and Mohammedans may take it. I see nothing against it." In 1788, Americans held inaccurate, and often contradicting, views of the Muslim world, and used that in political arguments. For example, the Anti-Federalists compared a strong central government to the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire and the American army to Turkish Janissaries, arguing against a strong central government. On the other hand, Alexander Hamilton argued that despotism in the Middle East was the result of the Sultan not having enough power to protect his people from oppressive local governors, thus he argued for a stronger central government. 20th century. Modern Muslims. Small-scale migration to the U.S. by Muslims began in 1840, with the arrival of Yemenis and Turks, and lasted until World War I. Most of the immigrants, from Arab areas of the Ottoman Empire, came with the purpose of making money and returning to their homeland. However, the economic hardships of 19th-century America prevented them from prospering, and as a result the immigrants settled in the United States permanently. These immigrants settled primarily in Dearborn, Michigan, Quincy, Massachusetts, and Ross, North Dakota. Ross, North Dakota is the site of the first documented mosque and Muslim cemetery, but it was abandoned and later torn down in the mid-1970s. A new mosque was built in its place in 2005. 1906, Bosniaks, Bosnian Muslims, in Chicago, Illinois, started the Dzmij Ul Hadrij, Jamaat al-Khairiyya, the Benevolent Society, a social service organization devoted to Bosnian Muslims. This is the longest-lasting incorporated Muslim community in the United States. They met in Bosnian coffee houses and eventually opened the first Islamic Sunday school with curriculum and textbooks under Bosnian scholar Sheikh Kamal Avdic, a graduate of Al-Azhar and author of Survey of Islamic Doctrines. 1907, Lipka Tatar immigrants from the Podlasie region of Poland founded the first Muslim organization in New York City, the American Mohammedan Society, which became the Powers Street Mosque. 1915, what is most likely the first American mosque was founded by Albanian Muslims in Bidford, Maine. A Muslim cemetery still exists there. 1920, first Islamic mission station was established by Mufti Muhammad Sadiq, an Indian Ahmadi Muslim missionary, followed by the building of the Al-Sadiq Mosque in 1921. 1921, the Highland Park Mosque was built in Highland Park, Michigan, although closed a few years later. 1929, the Ross Masjid in North Dakota was founded by Syrian Muslims. There is still a cemetery nearby. 1934, the oldest, still standing, building built specifically to be a mosque is established in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The mosque is where Abdullah Igram, a notable Muslim veteran, would teach the Quran. Abdullah Igram later wrote a letter to President Eisenhower persuading him to add the option, for Muslims, on military dog tags. 1945, a mosque existed in Dearborn, Michigan, home to the largest Arab American population in the U.S. Construction of mosques sped up in the 1920s and 1930s, and by 1952, there were over 20 mosques. Although the first mosque was established in the U.S. in 1915, relatively few mosques were founded before the 1960s. 87% of mosques in the U.S. were founded within the last 3 decades according to the Faith Communities Today, FACT, survey. California has more mosques than any other state. During the first half of the 20th century, a small number of African Americans established groups based on Islamic and Gnostic teachings. The first of such groups created was the Moorish Science Temple of America, founded by Timothy Drew Ali, in 1913. Drew taught that black people were of Moorish origin but their Muslim identity was taken away through slavery and racial segregation, advocating the return to Islam of their Moorish ancestry. This is not an unlikely idea, considering the first major Muslim immigrants came through the slave trade. Although practicing Muslims at the time of their arrival, Christian missionaries sought to convert slaves to Christianity and were mostly successful. The Moorish Science Temple of America is an American organization founded in 1913 by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He said they practiced the old-time religion of Islamism, but he also drew inspiration from Mohammedanism, Buddhism, Christianity, Gnosticism, and Taoism. Its significant divergences from mainstream Islam and strong African American ethnic character make its classification as an Islamic denomination a matter of debate among Muslims and scholars of religion. Its primary tenet was the belief that they are the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. The organization also believes that their descendants after being conquered in Spain are slaves who were captured and held in slavery from 1779 to 1865 by their slaveholders. Adherents of the Moorish Science Temple of America believe that the so-called Negroid Asiatic was the first human inhabitant of the Western Hemisphere. In their religious texts, members refer to themselves as Asiatics. 68. Within the teachings of Noble Drew Ali, the members are taught man cannot be a Negro, colored folk, black people, Ethiopians or African Americans, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. The Moorish Science Temple of America is legally and lawfully recognized as the first and oldest Islamic organization in America, with its current leader R. Jones Bey. The Nation of Islam, NOI, was created in 1930 by Wallace Fard Muhammad. Fard drew inspiration for NOI doctrines from those of Timothy Drew's Moorish Science Temple of America. He provided three main principles which serve as the foundation of the NOI: Allah is God, the white man is the devil, and the so-called Negroes are the Asiatic black people, the cream of the planet Earth. In 1934 Elijah Muhammad became the leader of the NOI. He deified Fard, saying that he was an incarnation of God, and taught that he was a prophet who had been taught directly by God in the form of Fard. Two of the most famous people to join the NOI were Malcolm X, who became the face of the NOI in the media, and Muhammad Ali, who, while initially rejected, was accepted into the group shortly after his first World Heavyweight Championship victory. Both Malcolm X and Ali later became Sunni Muslims. Malcolm X was one of the most influential leaders of the NOI and, in accordance with NOI doctrine, advocated the complete separation of blacks from whites. He left the NOI after being silenced for 90 days, and proceeded to form Muslim Mosque Incorporated and the Organization of Afro-American Unity before his pilgrimage to Mecca and conversion to Sunni Islam. He is viewed as the first person to start the movement among African Americans towards Sunni Islam. It was estimated that there were at least 20,000 members in 2006. However, today the group has a wide influence in the African American community. The first Million Man March took place in Washington, D.C., in 1995 and was followed later by another one in 2000 which was smaller in size but more inclusive, welcoming individuals other than just African American men. 73. The group sponsors cultural and academic education, economic independence, and personal and social responsibility. Shia Islam. An estimated 386,000 Shia Muslims live in the United States. They originate from South Asia, Europe, Middle East, and East Africa. The heart of Shiism in the U.S. is placed in Dearborn, home to the Islamic Center of America. The North American Shia Ithna Ashari Muslim Communities Organization is the largest umbrella group for North American Shias. Sufism. Some Muslim Americans adhere to the doctrines of Sufism. The Islamic Supreme Council of America is a small body representing Sufi teachings, which, according to adherents, is the inner, mystical dimension of Islam. The ISKA's stated aims include providing practical solutions for American Muslims, based on the traditional Islamic legal rulings of an international advisory board, many of whom are recognized as the highest-ranking Islamic scholars in the world. ISKA aims to integrate traditional scholarship in resolving contemporary issues affecting the maintenance of Islamic beliefs in a modern, secular society. It has been linked to neoconservative thought. Quranic movement. The largest Quranist movement in the United States is the United Submitters International. This movement was founded by Rashad Khalifa. His movement popularized the phrase, "the Quran, the whole Quran, and nothing but the Quran." Although he was initially well received by many, his subsequent claims of divine inspiration caused friction between him and others, and he was assassinated in 1990. 86. Notable Americans influenced by Rashad Khalifa include his son, Sam Khalifa, a retired professional baseball player, and Ahmad Rashad, a sportscaster and retired football player. Non-denominational Muslims. 2011 research by Pew found that non-denominational Muslims make up roughly 1 in 7 of all American Muslims, at 15%. Non-denominational Muslims do not have any specific affiliation with a religious body and usually describe themselves as being just a Muslim. Muslims who were born in the U.S. are more likely to be non-denominational than immigrant Muslims. 24% or 1 in 4 U.S.-born Muslims are non-denominational, versus 10% of immigrant Muslims. Other Muslims. There are some Mosque-goers who adhere to sects and denominations that form very small minorities. Examples of such small branches include Progressive Muslims, Mahdavi Muslims, and Ibadi Muslims. Some of the earliest Islamic missionary activities were undertaken by Alexander Russell Webb, who in 1893 established a mission in Manhattan, though it faltered due to lack of funding. From 1910 to 1912, Inayat contoured major American cities preaching Islam. He attracted large audiences, though not as many converts. More successful in converting Americans to Islam was Mufti Muhammad Sadiq, who established a mission in Chicago in 1920. The converts Sadiq attracted tended to be African American. Soon after, indigenous African American Muslim groups began to form. The Moorish Science Temple was established in Chicago in 1925, and the Nation of Islam formed in 1930. In recent years there has been significant conversion to Islam in the state, federal and local prisons of the United States. According to J. Michael Waller, Muslim inmates constitute 15 to 20% of the prison population, or roughly 350,000 inmates in 2003. Waller states that these inmates mostly come into prison as non-Muslims. He also says that 80% of the prisoners who find faith while in prison convert to Islam. These converted inmates are mostly African American, with a small but growing Hispanic minority. Now I tell you demographics. The U.S. Census Bureau does not collect data on religious identification. Various institutions and organizations have given widely varying estimates about how many Muslims live in the U.S. Tom W. Smith, author of Estimating the Muslim Population in the United States, said that of 20 estimates he reviewed during a 5-year period until 2001, none was based on a scientifically sound or explicit methodology. All can probably be characterized as guesses or assertions. 9 came from Muslim organizations such as the Islamic Society of North America, the Muslim Student Association, the Council on American Islamic Relations, the American Muslim Council, and the Harvard Islamic Society or unspecified Muslim sources. None of these sources gave any basis for their figures. In 2005, according to the New York Times, more people from Muslim countries became legal permanent United States residents, nearly 96,000, than in any year in the previous 2 decades. According to CARE, no scientific count of Muslims in the U.S. has been done and the larger figures should be considered accurate. Some journalists have also alleged that the higher numbers have been inflated for political purposes. According to a Pew Forum estimate, in 2017 there were 3.45 million Muslims, constituting about 1.1% of the total U.S. population, compared with 70.6% who follow Christianity, 22.8% unaffiliated, 1.9% Judaism, 0.7% Buddhism, and 0.7% Hinduism. 101. A Pew Forum report on American religion found that Muslims accounted for 0.9% of American adults in 2014, up from 0.4% in 2007, due largely to immigration. Retention rates were high, at 77%, similar to Hindus, 80%, and Jews, 75%. Most people who leave these religions become unaffiliated, although ex-Muslims were more likely to be Christians than ex-Hindus or ex-Jews were. Conversely, 23% of American Muslims were converts, including 8% from historically black Protestant traditions, 6% from being unaffiliated, 4% from Catholicism, and 3% from mainline or evangelical Protestantism. By race, in 2014, 38% were non-Hispanic white, including Arabs and Iranians, up from 32% in 2007, 28% were Asian, mostly Indians, Pakistanis, and Bangladeshis, up from 20% in 2007, 28% were black, down from 32%, 4% Hispanic, down from 7%, and 3% of mixed or other race, down from 7%. Since 2007, the black proportion had shrunk, while the white and Asian proportions had grown, mainly due to immigration, as most black Muslims were native U.S. blacks. Race. According to a 2001 study written by Sam Bagby, an associate professor of Islamic studies at the University of Kentucky, of Americans who convert to Islam, 64% are African American, 27% are white, 6% are Hispanic of any race, and 3% are other. Around that time, increasing numbers of American Hispanics converted to Islam. Many Hispanic converts in Houston said that they often had been mistaken as of being of Pakistani or Middle Eastern descent, due to their religion. Many Hispanic converts were former Christians. Since the arrival of South Asian and Arab communities during the 1990s, there has been divisions with the African Americans due to the racial and cultural differences. However, since September 11, 2001, the two groups joined together when the immigrant communities looked towards the African Americans for advice on civil rights. Religion. According to a 2014 religious survey, 64% of Muslims believe religion is very important, compared to 58% of Catholics who believe so. The frequency of receiving answers to prayers among Muslims was 31% at least once a week and 12% once or twice a month. 106, nearly a quarter of the Muslims are converts to Islam, 23%, mainly native-born. Of the total who have converted, 59% are African American and 34% white. Previous religions of those converted was Protestantism, 67%, Roman Catholicism, 10%, and 15% no religion. Mosques are usually explicitly Sunni or Shia, although they are over 55 Ahmadiyya mosques as well. There are 2,106 mosques in the United States as of 2010, and the nation's largest mosque, the Islamic Center of America, is in Dearborn, Michigan. It caters mainly to the Shia Muslim congregation, however, all Muslims may attend this mosque. It was rebuilt in 2005 to accommodate over 3,000 people for the increasing Muslim population in the region. Approximately half, 50%, of the religious affiliations of Muslims is Sunni, 16% Shia, 22% non-affiliated and 16% other/non-response. 110, Muslims of Arab descent are mostly Sunni, 56%, with minorities who are Shia, 19%. Muslims of South Asian descent including Bangladeshis, 90%, Indians, 82%, and Pakistanis, 72%, are mainly Sunni. Other groups such as Iranians are mainly Shia, 91%. Of African American Muslims, 48% are Sunni, 34% are unaffiliated, mostly part of the community of W. Deen Muhammad, 16% other, mostly Nation of Islam and Ahmadiyya, and 2% Shia. In many areas, a mosque may be dominated by whatever group of immigrants is the largest. Sometimes the Friday sermons, or khutbahs, are given in languages like Urdu, Bengali or Arabic along with English. Areas with large Muslim populations may support a number of mosques serving different immigrant groups or varieties of belief within Sunni or Shia traditions. At present, many mosques are served by imams who immigrate from overseas, as only these imams have certificates from Muslim seminaries. Education and income. The household income levels of American Muslims are about as evenly distributed as the general American population. When it comes to education, the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding reported in 2017 that across the board, American Muslims, Protestants, and Catholics have similar education levels. It has also been found that Muslim women, 73%, are more likely than Muslim men, 57%, to go on to pursue higher education beyond high school, and they are also more likely to report being in the middle class. Current estimates show that there are 270 full-time Islamic schools that enroll between 26,000 to 35,500 students in the United States. Islamic K-12 schools typically teach Tawhid, or belief that God is the creator and sustainer of the universe, ilm, the imperative to seek knowledge, and talim, and specific teaching about the Quran and Ahadith. Some private Islamic schools in the United States cater to specific ethnic and/or cultural communities. Others enroll students from diverse backgrounds and ethnicities. Specific subjects that are taught include Arabic, Quran, and Islamic studies along with academic subjects such as math, science, English, history, civics, and in some schools, art and music. Typically Islamic schools integrate religious knowledge throughout the curricula, incorporate prayer into their daily schedules, require modest dress, and serve whole food. Among South Asians in the country, the large Pakistani American community stands out as particularly well educated and prosperous, with education and income levels exceeding those of U.S.-born whites. Many are professionals, especially in medicine. They account for 2.7 to 5% of America's physicians, scientists, engineers, and financial analysts, and there are also a large number of entrepreneurs. There are more than 15,000 medical doctors practicing medicine in the USA who are of Pakistani origin alone, and the number of Pakistani American millionaires was reported to be in the thousands. Shahid Khan, a Pakistani-born American multi-billionaire businessman, owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars of the National Football League, NFL, making him the first and only ethnic minority member to own one. He also owns English Premier League team Fulham FC, and automobile parts manufacturer Flex-N-Gate in Urbana, Illinois. 45% of immigrant Muslims report annual household income levels of $50,000 or higher. This compares to the national average of 44%. Immigrant Muslims are well represented among higher income earners, with 19% having annual household incomes of $100,000 or higher, compared to 16% for the Muslim population as a whole and 17% for the U.S. average. This is likely due to the strong concentration of Muslims in professional, managerial, and technical fields, especially in information technology, education, medicine, law, and the corporate world. Population concentration. There were calculated to be 2.595 million Muslim adherents across the United States in 2010. Islamic populations are 0.6% of the U.S. population per Fareed Zakaria, quoting Pew Research Center, 2010. New York City had the largest number of Muslims with 69,985. In 2000, Dearborn, Michigan, ranked second with 29,181, and Los Angeles ranked third with 25,673, although Paterson, New Jersey, in the New York City metropolitan area, was estimated to have become home to 25,000 to 30,000 Muslims as of 2011. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, was estimated to have 30,000 to 50,000 Muslims as of 2012. Paterson, New Jersey, has been nicknamed Little Ramallah and contains a neighborhood with the same name, with an Arab American population estimated as high as 20,000 in 2015. Mosques. The number of mosques in the United States in 2011 was 2,106. The 6 states with the greatest number of mosques were New York 257, California 246, Texas 166, Florida 118, Illinois 109, New Jersey 109. Culture. Muslims in the United States have increasingly made their own culture. There are various Muslim comedy groups, rap groups, scout troops and magazines, and Muslims have been vocal in other forms of media as well. Within the Muslim community in the United States there exist a number of different traditions. As in the rest of the world, the Sunni Muslims are in the majority. Shia Muslims, especially those in the Iranian immigrant community, are also active in community affairs. All 4 major schools of Islamic jurisprudence, fiqh, are found among the Sunni community. Some Muslims in the U.S. are also adherents of certain global movements within Islam such as the Salafi, the Muslim Brotherhood, the Gulen movement, and the Tablighi Jamaat. As of December 2013, increasing numbers of Muslim Americans are celebrating Christmas. Jesus is a holy prophet in Islam. Politics. In the 2000 presidential election, nearly 80% of Muslim Americans supported Republican candidate George W. Bush over Democratic candidate Al Gore. However, due to the invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq which took place under the Bush administration, as well as what some call an increased anti-Muslim rhetoric from the Republican Party after the September 11 attacks, support for the Republican Party among American Muslims has declined sharply. Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib are the first Muslim women elected to serve in Congress. By 2004, Bush's Muslim support had been reduced by at least half, who would vote for Democratic candidate John Kerry or a third-party candidate. By 2008, Democratic candidate Barack Obama got 67% to 90% of the Muslim vote depending on region. Some of his opponents question Obama's religious faith. See Barack Obama religion conspiracy theories. In a 2017 survey done by the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding, only 15% of American Muslims wanted Donald Trump to win the 2016 presidential election, compared to 54% wanting Hillary Clinton to win. According to a 2018 poll from the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding, American Muslims were as satisfied with the American trajectory as the general public, reporting at around 27%. Regarding the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump, Muslims are the least likely to approve of him across all faith groups including non-affiliated Americans. This compares to 17% of non-affiliated Americans, 31% of Jews, 36% of Catholics, 41% of Protestants, and 72% of white evangelicals. American Muslim political engagement is increasing, as 75% of American Muslims surveyed by ISPU reported being registered to vote, an increase of 15% from 2016 data. In January 2019, Sadaf Jaffer became the first female Muslim American mayor, first female South Asian mayor, and first female Pakistani American mayor in the United States, of Montgomery in Somerset County, New Jersey. Integration. Frocking ceremony for U.S. Navy's first Muslim chaplain, when Navy, Rabbi, Chaplain Arnold Renukoff attaches new shoulder boards with Muslim chaplain crescent insignia to uniform of Imam Monj Malik Abd al-Mutanil Jr., 1996. According to a 2004 telephone survey of a sample of 1,846 Muslims conducted by the polling organization Zogby, the respondents were more educated and affluent than the national average, with 59% of them holding at least an undergraduate college degree. Citing the Zogby survey, a 2005 Wall Street Journal editorial by Bret Stephens and Joseph Rago expressed the tendency of American Muslims to report employment in professional fields, with 1 in 3 having an income over $75,000 a year. The editorial also characterized American Muslims as role models both as Americans and as Muslims. Unlike many Muslims in Europe, American Muslims overall do not tend to feel marginalized or isolated from political participation and have often adopted a politically proactive stance. Several organizations were formed by the American Muslim community to serve as critical consultants on U.S. policy regarding Iraq and Afghanistan. Other groups have worked with law enforcement agencies to point out Muslims within the United States that they suspect of fostering intolerant attitudes. Still others have worked to invite interfaith dialogue and improved relations between Muslim and non-Muslim Americans. Growing Muslim populations have caused public agencies to adapt to their religious practices. Airports such as the Indianapolis International Airport, Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport, Kansas City International Airport have installed footbaths to allow Muslims, particularly taxicab drivers who service the airports, to perform their religious ablutions in a safe and sanitary manner. And Denver International Airport included a mosque as part of its interfaith chapel when opened in 1996, although such developments have not been without criticism. A Pew report released in 2009 noted that nearly 6 out of 10 American adults see Muslims as being subject to discrimination, more than Mormons, atheists, or Jews. While Muslims constitute less than 1% of the American population, they accounted for approximately 1/4 of the religious discrimination claims filed with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission during 2009. According to FBI statistics, hate crimes against Muslims are rare, at 6.0 per 100,000, compared to blacks at 6.7, homosexuals and bisexuals at 11.5, and Jews at 14.8. On December 14, 1992, the Chief of Chaplains of the United States Army requested that an insignia be created for future Muslim chaplains, and the design, a crescent, was completed January 8, 1993. Despite the work that Muslim Americans have done to normalize their faith practices in America and establish themselves within the society, discrimination and Islamophobia continue to serve as obstacle to true integration. According to a recent 2018 poll by the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding, a higher proportion of Muslims, 61%, than any other faith group, or the non-affiliated groups, report experiencing some frequency of religious discrimination in the past year, compared to 48% of Jews, 29% of white evangelicals, and less than 25% of all other groups. 151. Additionally, Muslim American women, Arabs, and people between the ages of 18-29 are the most likely to say they experienced religious discrimination. Organizations. One of the largest Islamic organizations is the Islamic Society of North America, ISNA, which says that 27% of mosques in U.S. are associated with it. ISNA is an association of immigrant Muslim organizations and individuals that provides a common platform for presenting Islam. It is composed mostly of immigrants. Its membership may have recently exceeded ASM, as many independent mosques throughout the United States are choosing to affiliate with it. ISNA's annual convention is the largest gathering of Muslims in the United States. The second largest is the community under the leadership of W. Deen Muhammad, or the American Society of Muslims, with 19% of mosques, mostly African Americans, having an affiliation with it. It was the successor organization to the Nation of Islam, once better known as the Black Muslims. The association recognizes the leadership of Deen Muhammad. This group evolved from the Black separatist Nation of Islam, 1930 to 1975. The majority of its members are African Americans. This has been a 23-year process of religious reorientation and organizational decentralization, in the course of which the group was known by other names, such as the American Muslim Mission. W. Deen Muhammad guided its members to the practice of mainstream Islam, such as salat or fasting, and teaching the basic creed of Islam, the Shahada. The third largest group is the Islamic Circle of North America, ICNA. CNA describes itself as a non-ethnic, open to all, independent, North America-wide, grassroots organization. It is composed mostly of immigrants and the children of immigrants. It is growing as various independent mosques throughout the United States join and also may be larger than ASM at the present moment. Its youth division is Young Muslims. Why Islam? Is a community outreach project of CNA. It seeks to provide accurate information about Islam while debunking popular stereotypes and common misconceptions through various services and outreach activities. The Islamic Supreme Council of America, ISCA, is a small organization representing Sufi teachings, which, according to adherents, is the inner, mystical dimension of Islam. The ISCA's stated aims include providing practical solutions for American Muslims, based on the traditional Islamic legal rulings of an international advisory board, many of whom are recognized as the highest-ranking Islamic scholars in the world. ISCA strives to integrate traditional scholarship in resolving contemporary issues affecting the maintenance of Islamic beliefs in a modern, secular society. 85. It has been linked to neoconservative thought. The Islamic Assembly of North America, IANA, is a leading Muslim organization in the United States. According to its website, among the goals of IANA is to unify and coordinate the efforts of the different Dawah-oriented organizations in North America and guide or direct the Muslims of this land to adhere to the proper Islamic methodology. In order to achieve its goals, IANA uses a number of means and methods including conventions, general meetings, Dawah-oriented institutions and academies, etc. IANA folded in the aftermath of the attack of September 11, 2001, and they have reorganized under various banners such as Texas Dawah and the Al-Maghrib Institute. The Muslim Students Association, MSA, is a group dedicated, by its own description, to Islamic societies on college campuses in Canada and the United States for the good of Muslim students. The MSA is involved in providing Muslims on various campuses the opportunity to practice their religion and to ease and facilitate such activities. MSA is also involved in social activities, such as fundraisers for the homeless during Ramadan. The founders of MSA would later establish the Islamic Society of North America and Islamic Circle of North America. The Islamic Information Center, IIC, is a grassroots organization that has been formed for the purpose of informing the public, mainly through the media, about the real image of Islam and Muslims. The IC is run by Chairman, Hajjaj al-Islam, Imam Said Rafiq Naqvi, various committees, and supported by volunteers. The Ahmadiyya Muslim community was established in the U.S. in 1921, before the existence of Nation of Islam, according to its members. This sect, however, is considered heretical by mainstream Muslims and not considered a part of the Ummah, or worldwide community of Muslims. Muslim Congress is another national Muslim organization. It is primarily a social welfare organization and runs many social projects, including food distribution to the homeless in their No More Hunger project, and also provides scholarship. It is under the leadership of Islamic scholars. American Muslim life after the September 11 attacks. After the September 11 attacks, America saw an increase in the number of hate crimes committed against people who were perceived to be Muslim, particularly those of Middle Eastern and South Asian descent. More than 20 acts of discrimination and violence were documented in the post-9/11 era by the U.S. Department of Justice. Some of these acts were against Muslims living in America. Other acts were against those accused of being Muslims, such as Sikhs, and people of Arabian and South Asian backgrounds. 189, a publication in Journal of Applied Social Psychology found evidence that the number of anti-Muslim attacks in America in 2001 increased from 354 to 1,501 following 9/11. The same year, the Arab American Institute reported an increase in anti-Muslim hate crimes ranging from discrimination and destruction of private property to violent threats and assaults, some of which resulted in deaths. In a 2007 survey, 53% of American Muslims reported that it was more difficult to be a Muslim after the 9/11 attacks. Asked to name the most important problem facing them, the options named by more than 10% of American Muslims were discrimination, 19%, being viewed as a terrorist, 15%, public's ignorance about Islam, 13%, and stereotyping, 12%. 54% believe that the U.S. government's anti-terrorism activities single out Muslims. 76% of surveyed Muslim Americans stated that they are very or somewhat concerned about the rise of Islamic extremism around the world, while 61% express a similar concern about the possibility of Islamic extremism in the United States. On a small number of occasions, Muslim women who are distinctive hijab were harassed, causing some Muslim women to stay at home, while others temporarily abandoned the practice. In November 2009, Amal Abu Sumya, a mother of 4 young girls, had her hijab pulled following derogatory comments while grocery shopping. In 2006, one California woman was shot dead as she walked her child to school. She was wearing a headscarf, and relatives and Muslim leaders believe that the killing was religiously motivated. While 51% of American Muslims express worry that women wearing hijab will be treated poorly, 44% of American Muslim women who always wear hijab express a similar concern. In 2011, the Learning Channel, TLC, broadcast a television series, All American Muslim, depicting the lives of different American Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan. Even 16 years after 9/11, studies show that 42% Muslim Americans report bullying of their children in school because of their faith. 1 in 4 bullying incidents involving Muslims is rerouted to have involved a teacher or other school official. Policies regarding immigration and airport security have also impacted Muslim American lives after 9/11, with Muslims being twice as likely as any other faith group surveyed to be stopped at the border for additional screening. 67% of Muslims who were stopped at a U.S. border also reported that they were easily identifiable as a member of their faith group. The climate of the 2016 presidential election and the policies that followed have also affected the lives and sentiments of Muslims Americans when it comes to their own safety. Muslims and Jews are most likely to express fear for their personal safety or that of their family from white supremacist groups as a result of the 2016 elections. Overall, the majority of non-white Muslims do report some level of race-based discrimination in the past year. When it comes to religious-based discrimination, Muslim Americans as a whole were the most likely faith group to report it. Controversy. A 2011 Pew poll reported support for extremism among Muslim Americans is negligible. The poll indicated all segments of the Muslim American population were opposed to violence and to a correlation between support for suicide bombing and religiosity measures. A 2007 Pew poll reported that very few Muslim Americans, 1%, supported suicide bombings against civilian targets in at least some circumstances, with 81% reporting that suicide bombings and other forms of violence against civilians are never justified. Favorable views towards al-Qaeda were held by a comparably smaller percentage among Muslim Americans, 2% very favorable and 3% somewhat favorable. 15% of American Muslims under the age of 30 supported suicide bombings against civilian targets in at least some circumstances. On the other hand, 11% said it could be rarely justified in a 2007 Pew poll. Among those over the age of 30, just 6% expressed their support for the same. 9% of Muslims over 30 and 5% under 30 chose not to answer. Based on data from a 2011 poll by the Pew Research Center, this graph records the distribution of feelings of U.S. Muslims on the topic of suicide bombings. Terrorism that involved Muslim perpetrators began in the United States with the 1993 shootings at CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, followed by the 1993 World Trade Center bombing in New York City. After the September 11 attacks and the start of the Afghanistan war in 2001, there was concern about the potential radicalization of American Muslims. Between 2001 and the end of 2009, there were 46 publicly reported incidents of domestic radicalization and recruitment to jihadist terrorism that involved at least 125 people between 2001 and the end of 2009. There had been an average of 6 cases per year since 2001, but that rose to 13 in 2009. While the seeming increase in cases may be alarming, half involve single individuals, while the rest represent tiny conspiracies, according to congressional testimony. Furthermore, a 2012 study by the University of North Carolina indicated that the yearly number of cases of alleged plots by Muslim Americans appears to be declining. The total of 20 indictments for terrorism in 2011 is down from 26 in 2010 and 47 in 2009. The total since 9/11 is 193. The number of Muslim Americans indicted for support of terrorism also fell, from 27 individuals in 2010 to just 8 in 2011. The total since 9/11 stands at 462. Also in apparent decline is the number of actual attacks. Of the 20 suspects indicted for terrorism, only one was charged with carrying out a terrorist act. This number is down from the 6 individuals charged with attacks in 2010. Muslim Americans are significantly represented among those who tip authorities off to alleged plots, having given 52 of the 140 documented tips regarding individuals involved in violent terrorist plots since 9/11. The Boston Marathon bombing in 2013 caused 280 injuries, and 5 civilian and police deaths. Attempted attacks, like the Curtis Culwell Center attack and 2015 Boston beheading plot, have attracted substantial media coverage and inflamed community relations. In 2015, the New America Foundation released information about violent extremist groups in the U.S. While the Boston Marathon bombing had a high injury toll, only 4 deaths were counted by the group, and the group's count of only deaths from violent extremism showed that since 9/11, 48 people had been killed by anti-government extremists, compared to 28 by jihadists. Some Muslim Americans have been criticized because of perceived conflicts between their religious beliefs and mainstream American value systems. Muslim cab drivers in Minneapolis, Minnesota have been criticized for refusing passengers for carrying alcoholic beverages or dogs. The Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport Authority has threatened to revoke the operating authority of any driver caught discriminating in this manner. There are reported incidents in which Muslim cashiers have refused to sell pork products to their clientele. Jihadist extremism in the United States. At least one American not of recent immigrant background, John Walker Lind, has been imprisoned, convicted on charges of working with the Taliban and carrying weapons against American soldiers. He had converted to Islam while in the United States, moved to Yemen to study Arabic, and then went to Pakistan, where he was recruited by the Taliban. Another American that was not of recent immigrant background, Jose Padilla, of Puerto Rican descent and the first Hispanic American to be imprisoned and convicted on suspicion of plotting a radiological bomb attack. He was detained as a material witness until June 9, 2002, when President George W. Bush designated him an enemy combatant and, arguing that he was not entitled to trial in civilian courts, had him transferred to a military prison. He had converted to Islam while serving his last jail sentence in prison, and went to Pakistan where he was recruited into Al-Qaeda. In 2015, 4 U.S. Marines were killed and 3 injured in Chattanooga, Tennessee by a 24-year-old Kuwaiti man, a naturalized U.S. citizen with an engineering degree. Islamophobia. An anti-Sharia protest in Raleigh, North Carolina, June 10, 2017. According to a 2011 Gallup poll, over the preceding decade there had been an increase in Islamophobia, which it defined as an exaggerated fear, hatred, and hostility toward Islam and Muslims that is perpetuated by negative stereotypes resulting in bias, discrimination, and the marginalization and exclusion of Muslims from social, political, and civic life. Another 2011 poll provided by The Washington Post through the Public Religion Research Institute states that 48% of Americans are uncomfortable with Muslim women wearing the burqa. A 2014 Pew Research Center survey found that Muslims were the most disliked religious group in the United States with an average cold rating of 40 out of 100, which is lower than the 41 cold rating received by atheists. According to a poll in November 2015 by the Public Religion Research Institute, 56% of Americans believe that the values of Islam are at odds with the American values and ways of life. Public institutions in the U.S. have also drawn fire for accommodating Islam at the expense of taxpayers. The University of Michigan Dearborn and a public college in Minnesota have been criticized for accommodating Islamic prayer rituals by constructing footbaths for Muslim students using taxpayers' money. Critics said this special accommodation, which is made to satisfy the needs of Muslims alone, is a violation of constitutional provisions separating church and state. Along the same constitutional lines, a San Diego public elementary school is being criticized for making special accommodations, specifically for American Muslims, by adding Arabic to its curriculum and giving breaks for Muslim prayers. Some critics said exceptions have not been made for any religious group in the past, and they see this as an endorsement of Islam. The first American Muslim congressman, Keith Ellison, created controversy when he compared President George W. Bush's actions after the September 11, 2001 attacks to Adolf Hitler's actions after the Nazi-sparked Reichstag fire, saying that Bush was exploiting the aftermath of 9/11 for political gain, as Hitler had exploited the Reichstag fire to suspend constitutional liberties. The United States Holocaust Memorial Museum and the Anti-Defamation League condemned Ellison's remarks. The congressman later retracted the statement, saying that it was inappropriate for him to have made the comparison. At Columbus Manor School, a suburban Chicago elementary school with a student body nearly half Muslim Arab American, school board officials have considered eliminating holiday celebrations after Muslim parents complained that their culture's holidays were not included. Local parent Elizabeth Zadin said broader inclusion, not elimination, was the group's goal. "I only wanted them modified to represent everyone," the Chicago Sun-Times quoted her as saying. "Now the kids are not being educated about other people." However, the district's superintendent, Tom Smith, said too much school time was being taken to celebrate holidays already, and he sent a directive to his principals requesting that they tone down activities unrelated to the curriculum, such as holiday parties. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.